This is Alive and Thriving, and I am so happy to hold space for you in this episode today. Today, I'm going to share with you some reflections that I have had as I was reflecting back on my business and my personal life throughout the year. This episode is probably more business driven because some of the key takeaways and the lessons that I have taken from this reflection, I really feel like are going to support so many of you, particularly those who feel like you are just not getting anywhere, who feels like maybe that imposter syndrome is still kicking in, who maybe you're at the very beginning of your business and you're just navigating through that territory of, am I going to be getting my first client? When is this all going to be working out? All of those sorts of things. I think this episode is going to be really, really helpful for you. First of all, if you take nothing else from this episode, please let it be that you need to take some time for some reflection. Now, end of year is a great time to do that. You don't have to go and do it at the end of the year like most people do, but I love the idea of closing that energetic loop. I love the idea of refocusing, clearing old energy, and renewing it for the new year. Taking in this new year with this renewed focus of what worked and what didn't work, and how far you've grown. So, if you take nothing else other than gifting yourself the time to reflect, and it truly is a gift. Sometimes we look at these reflections and this sort of work as something that is optional or something that I'll do it later, I'll get to it when I'm not so busy, or it's a bit woo, or I don't like journaling, so it's not for me. And we don't actually sit and reflect. But the thing is, if you are a business owner, then reflection is essential. It is so essential because, particularly if you are looking for growth in your business, if you are looking for growth, which is going to be coming from your internal growth, which is then a reflection of your external growth, you need to be able to see where you've been and how far you've come and actually identify that. So I encourage you to gift yourself some reflection time, even if it's just at the end of this episode. Even if your business is only a month old, reflect on how far you have come from the very seed of implantation of the idea of your business. And really reflect on questions like, what worked for me? What didn't work for me? What am I leaving behind in 2023? And that could be thoughts, that could be behaviors, that could be patterns of sabotage. That could be outdated beliefs and stories that aren't serving you. It could be fear. What are you leaving behind? And what are you bringing in with you? And if you haven't done that identity work around who do I need to be in order to have this business that I am desiring, to make this impact that I am desiring, then I really recommend that's the next place that you go, into that foundation work. And by the way, if that is where you are at right now, I'm just going to drop a teeny tiny little breadcrumb here. I've not said this publicly yet. There is something coming for you very early next year. And if you would like to know what it is, just DM me. DM me. It's not ready for you to buy yet. It's not ready for anything like that. But if you want to make sure that you don't miss out on this opportunity to get deep into these essential foundations that you need, the embodiment, the identity of who you need to be to step out of the person healing into the healer, to step out of the person who's just graduated into the coach, to step out of the hobbyist into the entrepreneur, I've got something for you, and you need to DM me. In the meantime, let's start working on the limiting beliefs and the pain of the past and the stories of the past that are holding you back. I have exactly 3 one-on-one spaces as this episode goes to air to work one-on-one with clients starting in February. Just 3. That's it. So if you would like one of those 3, then please get in touch ASAP. So you are off to do your reflection when you finish this. I'm going to share now a little bit of my reflection.
You're listening to Alive and Thriving with Jessica Reed, the podcast that's all about empowering you to achieve optimal wellness and success through self-care, holistic practices, and raw conversations. Jessica and her expert guests are here to share powerful insights and strategies to help you overcome stress and anxiety, take charge of your life, and thrive in life and in business. Grab a cuppa and let's dive in.
So reflection is something that I've done every year. And every year the reflection gets deeper because every year I am more capable of holding that space to allow myself to go deeper, to allow myself to not just see that surface level of what worked and what didn't work, but really get into that identity piece of who was I, what shadow parts of myself were at play here, because being able to recognize all of those things is so important. There is no shame to having parts of us that are showing up in our businesses and our lives that is not serving us. And as I reflect on this year, I reflect on the fact that I have yet again, overcome massive challenges within my nervous system, within my personal life. And when I look at the way that I overcome challenges, I get so deep into these challenges. My nervous system just goes into this complete shutdown. You can go back and listen to some episodes where I talk about how I navigated my way out of the car accident and the funeral and all those things back in April, of the things that I did. But then I look at where I end up on the other side of those challenges. And where I end up is actually then in a space where I feel like I have actually shed a layer and I am ready to hold more. That is how I reflect on my challenges now. Because when I look back at every challenge, even the most devastating things that I never anticipated were going to happen in my life, the way that I have turned out on the other side of those has been a choice. And it's been a choice to implement the tools that I know. It's been a choice to ask for help. It's been a choice to let my ego down and say, okay, yes, you're an alternative therapist and you know how to do these things, but you're not supposed to hold space for yourself right now. Somebody else is supposed to hold space for you. Allowing all of these things, and again, implementing the tools that I preach, all of those things have come into play with how I have stepped out on the other side of my challenges. So personally, I had a lot to reflect on. But in terms of my business, there was something really, really common that I reflected on from this year, and that was how many people reflected back to me their observation of how much I had grown and how it looked like I was just continually reaching the next level. And I was reflecting on that. And I did actually share an Instagram post on this a little while ago, but not in this detail. I was reflecting on what actually changed, where I was not only at the beginning of this year, but where I was at the beginning of even the year before, when I was really deciding to take my business seriously. So there's a couple of key shifts that have happened this year, and I want to share those with you. The first big key shift is that last year I did so much identity work. I did those foundations I was talking about. I was the person who was stepping out of and I honestly, I never ever showed up to my business with the mindset of this is a hobby. Even when it wasn't making any money, I always showed up to my business as if it was my full-time job. I treated it like a thriving business. I spoke about it like a thriving business. But so my mindset was strong, but the identity piece that I was carrying around had imposter syndrome. And there was a lot of jealousy and things that came into play which I've learned now is just an invitation to lean in, an invitation not only to lean in, but to see what is possible in my world. It's really good to think about jealousy that way. It's an invitation from the universe to discover what's possible for you. So last year, when I was making decisions in my business from this identity that I hadn't embodied yet of this full, digital entrepreneur, this identity of this healer and this coach, I think I've spoken a few times about the fact that I was holding back from the energetic side of my business because I was worried about being judged. Actually, it just meant that I wasn't attracting all the right people because I wasn't being authentic in terms of how I really felt and what I really wanted to be speaking about and working with. So there was so much identity work last year that needed to happen. And as I have done that, that has allowed me this year, as I moved into this year, something happened at the beginning of this year. Something really, really amazing. And I still remember the day that I realized. Last year, when I was making decisions, I was making them from a space of fear. It was coming from an energy of my business needs to make money or it's not a business. I am spending a lot. I need to replace my full time income. So, getting clients, attracting clients, was actually coming from an energy of fear and an energy of desperation. And that shift came from a part of the identity work that I was doing. I'm going to get to that. I'm actually jumping around with my points here. So, we've done the identity work, and the identity work never changes, but never stops, by the way. We unlock new levels for every new level that we reach, right? But what happened when I stopped making decisions from fear? And one of the key things I implemented into my business this year was operating from a space of spaciousness and impact. Every decision that I make, every client that I speak to, every post that I put out, every email, every podcast is now no longer just coming from this space of I'm going to drive you to my business so that hopefully we can work together and I can be, putting food on the table. It's coming from being so clear on knowing the ripple effect of my impact. And not only the ripple effect of my impact, but also the ripple effect of my income. Because the more income that I can bring into this business, the more I can actually impact people I can hire. That impacts their families. That impacts my ability to be able to actually show up to you in a way that is more energetic and more aligned, and to be more present with clients and to hold space for a mastermind, because income has meant that I can outsource. So, operating from this space of impact, and as I said, this ripple effect, I have had clients this year who have let go of trauma that literally was impacting every single decision that they have made in their life. Their body has released it. And those decisions ripple into their families, their jobs, their businesses, and the way that they impact their clients. I have had clients who have let go of, literally, this is meaningless to me now, beliefs around visibility, beliefs around success, beliefs around money, which has allowed them to actually step out and be the face of their business, which has allowed them to get clarity in terms of what they are offering and come at it knowing that they are also making a difference. I have had clients who have been able to let go of emotional triggers that have held them back for all their life, their whole life. And now these things are just so detached from them emotionally that they can just go about their day. They can go about their world while the external world still functions the same. The ripple effect of these might mean that those clients can put food on their table, might mean that those clients can have so much more joy in their life, that they actually have the space to reconnect back to who they truly are that they get to impact people who then go and impact other people. There is this huge ripple effect to that. And so coming at my business with every decision from a point of spaciousness, so that's coming out of that deconditioned way of being. And this is a part of what we do in our Transcendence Mastermind and our one-on-one work together. It's moving away from that conditioned busyness, that conditioned noise, and coming into the space of spaciousness, operating a business in a strengths-led way that is supportive of you. It's a different energy to operate your business from. It is a completely different energy. It is one of abundance and one of expansion. It is not one of fear, and it is not one of limitation. Oh, if that person gets that client, then what happens if I don't? No, it's not that at all. It's this amazing, beautiful feeling that comes from this energy shift that has come from being able to release and heal my own blockages. And this is possible for you too. So that is one major shift that has happened when I reflect back on this year. The next major shift, and that's in terms of how I run my business, that's in terms of how I run my life. The next major shift, and I think I started saying this at the beginning of this episode, and I remember the day that I realized this had happened, was I actually decided it was going to work. And I know that sounds as if you'd run a business and not decide, but I had always decided this is what I wanted to do. I knew that this is how I was moving forward, but there was still all of that fear piece inside of me. There was still that piece of, oh, what if this doesn't work? Who are you to be doing this? All of those imposter syndrome things, all of those things were still showing up. When I decided, and so what that meant was I was putting offers out last year with the expectation they weren't going to really sell that well. The power of decision I cannot put it into words. When you fully decide, it was a feeling for me. It was like something just dropped into my body, and I knew that this was going to work because I was going to make it work. It was a decision. I fully decided. The old me was gone. The old way of doing business was gone. The old way of thinking was gone. The old relationship with money, the old relationships with time, the old relationships were gone, and I was never going back. And this business was going to work because I had connected back in so much to that impact-driven way of being. And I had cleared space within me to be able to embrace this identity of this woman who has a successful business. It's not selfish or dirty or wrong for you to want your business to make money. I literally just told you impact with income. The next step in my next level of income in my business is going to be allowing me to give back to the community with my invoices. Like, how amazing is that? When I when I really connected to my movement at the beginning of this year, that really helped the impact-driven angle, the impact-driven decisions. I'm going to read you the Inspired Life Collective movement. Okay, this is I think it's even bigger than a mission. I'm committed to pioneering a movement that challenges the normalization of stress and anxiety as a standard for living and business. My movement aims to empower women to embrace their emotions, encouraging them to accept all aspects of mind, body, and past experiences, whilst enhancing optimal holistic well-being and success through a regulated nervous system. I am here to disrupt the status quo for a world where women and future generations feel safe to feel deeply and live fully, aligned, and authentically. That is bigger than my umbrella statement. My umbrella is I help self-led women who desire healing, elevation, and growth to thrive personally and professionally. That sort of narrows down from the movement, but the movement is big. The movement is bigger than me. It is bigger than my children. It is bigger than just my clients. The movement is the ripple effect. And the ripple effect and connecting to all of that this year has meant, again, that the decisions that I have made in my business have no longer been from a space of desperation. They haven't been from a space of fear, limitation. They have been from a space of abundance and a space of expansion and a space of impact. So deciding that what I was doing, that I was the right person to be leading this movement, deciding that what I was doing was actually going to work because I decided it was going to. It's really hard to explain. I think if you are a defined ego in human design, you'll probably, if you've got a defined heart center, then you're going to understand this. Once you've decided, it just happens. Making that full decision meant that I was energetically all in. So last year, mentally, financially, I was all in. Energetically, at some level, I wasn't because I hadn't fully decided. So making that decision has meant the world of change. I remember the moment I made that decision that it was going to work, it was like the universe delivered. And here is now aligned clients. Here is now the way that your membership is supposed to be. Here is now your next steps. Here is now your next elevation. Here is now your next challenge personally, so you can move into your next elevation. It's amazing how that works. So those were two things that I've reflected on this year that have just been such huge shifts. And that has meant, and I reflect back, I don't remember any time throughout this year where I felt like business felt hard, where I felt like it felt stressful. I just felt like it was fun and easy. And even launching Mastermind, it felt fun. There was no stress. There was, and a part of that is because I have detached, and this is the third reflection, I detached from the outcomes. Like I said, the outcomes are more about impact and less about desperation attachment to money. There was a point where I was launching a $30 membership and I was so attached to the outcome. Now, to have a full-time income on a $30 membership means a lot of visibility. And as a new business, I wasn't there. And I was so attached to the outcome that it felt hard to feel happy with any kind of results. If you get 1 to 2 people join a membership in a launch, I would be celebrating the hell out of that. Celebrate it. Those people want to work with you, whether it be for $10 a month or whether it be for $500 a month. Those people want to work with you. They want to be in your presence. They want to be in your energy, learning from you, detaching from the outcome, detaching from the emotional attachment of money, detaching from the identity of actually entwining your business with your identity. That's another topic. That's something that we do big time in the mastermind. We work with the energy of our business. We co-create with our business. So we are not just the outcomes. We don't identify as the outcomes. And there was a point last year and the year before where I was. Oh, I had a small launch, therefore that must mean that I what? I put out a post and no one immediately bought from me, therefore I am not capable of what? I was attached to my outcomes. Detaching from money, detaching from outcomes. One of the best things that I reflect on this year in terms of my business growth. And I just feel like I am so excited for what is coming next year because I know and I feel it in every single part of my body feel it that it is a big impact. And I know that I am on the path of purpose. I know that. And that is something that I really felt this year as I moved through. I had already felt that I was doing the right thing. I felt like I should be where I should be. But shifting into that power of decision and allowing myself to stay there because I had shed the past and I had shed out of the identity of the woman who wasn't ready to hold that level of space yet, and detaching from my outcomes. There's just such a lightness about what I do. This is and the work I do is heavy. We could be in a session 1 minute talking about not being able to use your voice in business and dive that back to childhood trauma. The work is heavy in that sense, but the business feels light. And I just love that. I just absolutely love that. And I wish that for you. I really, truly do. And I really, truly do wish for you that if that is where you want to be, that we do work together next year. Because I'm so ready to guide and mentor you into that space. Whether it be one-on-one, whether it be through the masterminds, or whether it be through this brand new foundations program that is coming, which I'm not going to tell you more about until you DM me and ask me. Tell me you're ready for it. Tell me you're ready for the mastermind, and let's get you in. So when you have done your reflection for your year, when you have reflected on what has worked, what hasn't worked, who you were, if that version of you is still serving where you want to go, what you are going to leave behind, what you are taking with you, when you have reflected on all of these things, as well as your analytics, so energetic and strategic, yes, you need to know what actually worked too. When you are ready though, when you have done that reflection, then come in and share it with me. Come into Instagram. I just banged the microphone. I don't know if you heard that. Come and share that with me on Instagram. It's all linked below at jessica.reid.ilc. And if you want to take one of those 3 remaining one-on-ones, if you are ready to claim that space for you, because you know that you are ready to shed what is holding you back, you will know that you are ready to step into the identity of the woman who is going to serve you through your next level, then let's do that. Claim your spot. Oh, I just got goosebumps. Someone listening, I feel this. I just felt it. Somebody listening this is me. I am ready. I just felt you. I felt you. I had whole body shivers. 24, I feel, is coming with big healing energy for a lot of people who are on that same impact-driven path as me. And I cannot wait to have you in my world. So I hope you have the best day, whatever or whenever the night, if you're listening to this. And I can't wait to see you in my DMs and tell me about your decision. Are you ready to fully decide? And if not, let's remove the blocks to that. Tell me where you're at, what you reflect on, and how we can move forward together next year.
Wow, what a journey it's been today. We are so grateful for each and every one of you who tuned in to Alive and Thriving. If you enjoyed this episode and want to help us keep growing, please consider subscribing and leaving a review on your favorite platform. It's a simple but powerful way to support a small business like ours to continue to make an impact.